sort of moving things forward from the other night, I know you talked about a bit of fatigue and a bit of mental and physical tiredness being a contributory factor to the game at Grimsby the other night. I suppose the big question is, how is everybody, and how do you monitor and sort of keep track of those things?
You've got to try and do your best with it. It's how you recover after it, isn't it, really? So it's a mental thing as well, because, you know, we all didn't get back till late, obviously, on the Tuesday. So it's having them sit-down sessions with the players as well, and just asking them how they feel, how they've recovered as an individual themselves off the pitch, how they've gone about it. And that was ongoing, you know, obviously the next day when we came in. Like, so that you have to monitor. You have to monitor how players are feeling, and you want to put the best version of the player on the pitch. So, and that's up here as well, because it's a focus that you have to have from first minute to the 90 whatever minute it is. So you know, it's a big job, making sure the players are mentally tuned in and switched on and recharged, if you like, because the brain does need to recharge. You know, so, you know, people might think that, you know, they can sit at home and you know, well, my body's relaxing, but at the same time I'm maybe chilled out watching the film, or focusing on just reading something on my phone. So it's that constant, your brain's still ticking over. So you need to recharge, you need to rest, you need to do it right and recover right. And I think hopefully that we've got that balance right.
How much can you trust individuals who are inevitably, I think, going to say, I'm fine? Do you have any other means of testing it?
Well, the only way you can test it is by actually what you see then on the training field. So that's the only way. You have to trust. Trust's massive. You know, we know we've got the culture right and the players in that is right. So you've got to trust what they say, and then, you know, how they've gone about it and how they've recharged and how they've recovered. Then, you know, we do what we do when they come in the building to make sure that and that helps them along. And then you trust them in terms of you know, everything else that goes with that. And then what you see on the training ground is with your eyes, and then also the data that you get from the strength and conditioning coach, Chris Scholes. How
far away are you from welcoming any of your injuries back?
Yeah, so Kelsey was on the grass today. We was on the grass yesterday running. Who else? Dan, his foot. It was a badly bruised foot, which we thought there wasn't an issue, which he picked up the October-ish against Wigan. So that turned into an issue in the end. We ended up getting it scanned because we just thought it was badly bruised. So he's not too far off. He's doing more loading with the strength and conditioning coach and the physio. So he's getting a lot more work on him. So he's having no issues with running and everything else. So it's the next thing is that he's putting through paces with football. Seb's had his operation. He's still got a little bit of soreness, but so he's just in the gym at the minute. Jeric Bagaloo has got this ongoing niggly thing in his knee that we need to get to the bottom of. So I think we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel with that. And everyone else is okay.
Yeah, we saw.
Oh, sorry, Jake Batty as well. Jake Batty just got that problem with his knee, which is now sorted. He's had a little bit of a brace on to keep it straightened up and help him out with that, which is now perfect, if you like, in terms of what that was for. So hopefully we'll have him back next week.
And we saw Sean Worley involved in the warm-up before the FA Cup tie at the weekend. Does that mean that he's back in your equation?
Sean's fit, yeah. So he's been back on the grass, yeah.
Just as far as moving on from the other night is concerned, how important are guys like Sean Worley and Seamus Keneally within that dressing room, but also if you can get them out on the pitch, because they can go out there and you can't, I guess?
Well, they're massive, Dan. As you said, they're important in the dressing room, but what they give you on the pitch in terms of the leadership skills, and they're a different type of player. Seamus is that calm and influence where he'll get on the ball and pass it, and, you know, and keep everyone on a certain platform, if you like. And then you've got Sean, who's just energetic, can affect the game going forwards, got goals in him, got assists in him. So they're massive, you know, they're important, both of them, in and around the dressing room and more so onto the pitch.
You talked about mental tiredness and mental fatigue as well as physical tiredness a minute ago. How do you approach the FA Cup thing? How do you approach, I mean, there's more news today, it's been televised, it's going to be a 12:15 kickoff on the Saturday, the world's going to be watching kind of thing. How do you deal with that? Do you ban people talking about it? Do you want to talk about it? How do you stop it overloading people's brains?
You can't stop it, because regardless, the players are going to talk about it. You know, I've purposely not spoke about it, and I'm not going to speak about it because that's something to look forward to in January, which is great for the club, and I've spoke about that before. In terms of our focus is just Bromley, Dan. That's all we can focus. That's all my influence, and I want to influence the players and the supporters to get behind the lads in terms of just, it's a busy Christmas period. So I can't stop it. I'm not banning people from talking about it. I don't want to talk about it myself. Lads will talk about it. I haven't heard, to be honest, the players talk about it. So we've got the focus in that. But it's always going to be in the back of their minds. So, but at the end of the day, if the players want to play, they've got to train well, and then they've got to get the shirt, and they've got to perform for the fans, and they've got to perform for us and win games to stay in the team. So that's basically where we're at with it. Can't help outside influences and everything else that goes on, you know, yourselves, the media and all that, which is, and it is great for the club. It's an unbelievable tie, isn't it? You know, so we're really excited, but it's a long way off, Dan. You know, it's definitely in the back of my mind, and I'll try my best, and we are trying our best, me and Jed Brannan, to make sure that the players are focused on the here and now, and get the job done in terms of the league games that we've got coming up, and that will take care of itself in the new year.
Just one other piece of news I want to ask you about before we talk about Bromley in the game. News from the hierarchy of the club this week about a plan for people to advance up the management structure and ultimately for Andy Holt, the owner, to step down as chairman in the future. How much have you been involved in those conversations? Was that as much news to you as it was to the supporters?
No. So I knew of it from Andy, and I knew of it from Dave. So Andy's told me first, Andy Holt, he's a fantastic leader of this club and what he's done for this club. So he's decided this is the plan now going forward, and he's got my full backing on it and support. Nothing's going to change football-wise. So, you know, it's great. Warren does a fantastic job of what we're seeing. You know, the hospitality sold out with the help of, you know, Lynn and Izzy in there as well. So, you know, and Dave's the CEO. So, you know, obviously he's going to step up and be vice chairman. So relationships won't change, but in terms of job titles will.
Just on Andy Holt, when the time comes, and he said for a long time, you know, I don't want to be doing this forever, how much of a loss will he be? Oh,
massive. I mean, you've seen what the turnaround in the club, you know, the infrastructure, everything about it, you know, so to lose someone like that, it'll be a big blow for the club, but, you know, the club will bounce back in some way, you know. I don't want to see it, you know, at the end of the day, but Andy, as a touched on, is a great leader, isn't he, at this club, and you know, what he's invested and what he's brought to, not just to the club, but to the community as well. You know, the hub's a fantastic place that we train at down there now, so it's a community club, isn't it? And, you know, as I said, he's the job he's done has been unbelievable.
This game then, how significant could this potentially be? If you win it, you'll go above Bromley. For various reasons, the league situation has meant you've just slipped back down the table a little bit towards those relegation places. I appreciate you didn't play against Bradford, and you had the FA Cup. How important is it to turn the momentum back the other direction and get heading up again? Well,
it is. It's important, you know. So I said to the players, like, we've lost, I think is it 2 in 10? So we lost 1 in October. And, you know, and we were unbeaten in November. So people can put any spin they want on that, but that's fact. So that's where we are. We'd like more points. So obviously, we'd like to be further up the table. We're not going over all ground and all that. But at the end of the day, it's a big game, as you just said, Dan. So our focus is just Bromley, and it has been since I got on the bus Tuesday night. So it's been Bromley. We know how they play. We know what to expect. We know what we're going to do. So hopefully our plan works and theirs doesn't.
Just on drawing games, which you've done a fair bit of recently, are draws really helpful if you've been winning either side of them? And perhaps if you're not winning, you see them as a missed opportunity?
Well, you've always said that, Dan, so you always touch on that, but I touch on winning the games. So I know what you're saying. At the end of the day, I want to be unbeaten. So I want to win more games, it's obvious. You know, so that's it. But at the end of the day, this club, and I'll say again, is that October, we'd lost 1 game. November, we were unbeaten. So that's progress to me. From where we've been to where we are now, that is progress. And I think we're doing well. We should be doing better in terms of where we are points-wise. I think we should be further up the table. We're not. We are where we are. That's the reality. The thing is that I know the football gives you another opportunity. And the other opportunity came the other night, which we didn't take for whatever reason. All of the factors that got thrown into that with the emotion of everything, the efforts on the Saturday, then the emotion on the Monday. To now going in, the opportunity we've got now to going into a team that's around us and a team that we hopefully can beat.
What have you made of your home form this season? The atmosphere in the FA Cup the other weekend was really vociferous and terrific, and the celebrations when you won the penalty shootout. Just in terms of the actual results you've been getting here, what have you thought about it?
Yeah, the results have been great. So, yeah, we wanted more wins than draws, but I think personally the team are giving everything. So we've been unlucky at times with games that we should have got over the line, and I'm not going back to the games that we're trying to talk about. I don't want to do that. I'm a more glass half full and half empty. So at the end of the day, the lads are doing really well. The club's in a really, really good place. Andy's got a plan for everything that you've just spoke about before. So at the end of the day, our focus is Bromley, and our focus is to beat Bromley and get ourselves up that table.
Yeah, the 3 points could be pretty significant, as we talked about. How much would it put midweek to bed if you got that 3 points?
Well, that's what it is, because all of a sudden, you know, you don't even think about that. So we've touched on it, we've had a little look at it. We haven't gone into detail on it because I don't want to. I don't want it lingering in the players' minds. I know the factors before all that had a massive influence on it, and the influence on Grimsby not playing the weekend was great for them. So I know what it is, and I know that we just have to now be focused on what we're doing next, and what we're doing next is going to attack Bromley.